So how you feeling this morning, my man?
Oh, pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah, yeah,
Kind of
it's
chilly
been
today.
it stayed that way the whole day yesterday, which was shocking, but also fall weather. It's
Hmm.
probably the best fashion time for men out there. So I'm with that big time. Been a busy week. We went to an event last week. I haven't had a chance to get it up yet because there was a lot of great stuff that we got to see and got to experience. And I want to make sure the story goes well. So we'll be getting that out this weekend. But before we start, I need you to bear with me for a second because I got to get this out as we start the show because this is kind of what is the show's going to be around today. I know I keep harping on it, but we're now at a point where we really have to start holding the media accountable. The complicity of NBC, ABC, CBS, Fox, it's destroying our country right now. And I recently, one of the reasons I've been so busy is I recently began driving Uber because business hasn't been as good as it used to be. But I'm also, as I'm driving Uber, I'm finding it kind of enjoyable.
Hmm.
I find it enjoyable because my interactions with people kind of confirms the complicity of legacy media. Now here's an example. Elderly woman gets in the car, starts talking about how she lives in St. Croix and how she has solar panels all over her house and how it saves her money and that people up here can't do it because the sun doesn't shine enough. All right, so we know where she got that from. Well, unlike legacy media, I cut that nonsense out quick. I just told her that that's not true. And when she said it is, I said, no, it isn't. And I refused to allow her to use those orange talking points. I didn't call her a name or anything. I stayed on topic while canceling the nonsense by coming back with facts. There was one particular thing. I said, well, where are you getting your facts from?
Yeah, that's what I wanted to know.
Yeah, that's what she said. So you know what she said? Same thing they say on Fox or whatever. Well, I had to come back to you with that information. I said, well, I can tell you where I'm getting my data from. And I just went down a list of stuff, you know. And so she basically shut up. But I'm saying all of that to say this. If the media did their fucking job, then that dumb crap that woman was saying would have never came out of her mouth. She was a sweet old lady.
Hmm.
But now, since her guy says that there's no more freedom of speech, now that her guy is saying that there's no more freedom of speech, maybe the next time I could just tell her to shut the fuck up because that shit is insane. The press conference he had yesterday
Hmm.
showed that we are living under an authoritarian regime. And with that scallywag fake journalist who says she went undercover for 2 months with Antifa and all that crap she was saying, we're looking to kill. And the press refuses to call out this bullshit. Means, in my opinion, man, with it being such a beautiful day outside, we are probably coming to much darker times. So, that being said, my man, what say you on that?
Well, I mean, we are in those times. That's what
Yeah,
I've been saying. I mean, the
yeah,
time is over when we're like we're moving toward authoritarianism. We're moving toward fascism. We're here.
we're here. Yeah,
We're here.
we're here. Yeah, yeah.
The news. The what's happened with the news. And this is a problem that has been evolving and getting worse over the past 30 years
Mm,
as these news organizations had to start becoming profit centers. I mean, they had to justify their existence by uh, making a profit. where that
Right.
wasn't the case
Right.
in the
Right.
past.
Yeah.
Then these media companies started being purchased by corporations, and
Mm-hmm.
you know where this is going, where they
Right.
have to
Right.
answer to the board of directors and the stockholders, and they have to bring in they try to bring in as many eyes as possible. But
Right.
the
Right.
what's happened now, now that they are now subject to those corporate overlords, now Donald Trump has leveraged his ability as the executive
Yeah.
to put pressure
Mm.
on those corporate overlords. And so now you
Exactly.
have these media organizations, and I don't really necessarily blame all the journalists. Here's the issue. I heard a good argument, not an argument. Well, it was a good conversation. I don't know
All
which
right.
side you stand on it, but Mark Elias, the attorney
Mm-hmm.
who you know tackles
Yeah. I
all of
know.
these lawsuits against the
Yeah.
Trump administration.
Yeah.
He was on MSNBC, and he was going off on the fact that now that the Justice Department is in fact indicting Trump's
Political
enemies.
opponents. Yeah.
These people
Yeah.
on bogus charges, really, with or
Yeah.
at least
Yeah.
not passing the
Yeah.
threshold in which you should even put it in front of a grand jury.
Right.
He's saying those people now, who even the lower level people, the attorneys, the members of the bar that stay at the Justice Department, they are as complicit as the people at top because they know
Yeah.
better.
Yeah. They
The,
definitely know better.
the
Yeah.
pushback was here's the issue, and it was another lawyer that was at the table, is that these are people with mortgages, family, all that stuff.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
because of the tone that Trump has put, or the pall that Trump has put on the legal community. He tried to sue a bunch of law firms and all that type of thing. That
Yeah.
she was saying that her colleagues who are at the Justice Department who do want to leave are first they can't just bail because they can't afford to.
Right.
But as
Yeah.
far as
Yeah.
looking for
Yeah.
another job, they're sort of tainted now because these law firms are scared to hire them because you don't want to have necessarily an attorney on your team that left the Justice Department because they didn't agree with something that Trump was doing, because Trump might use that as a reason to go after that law firm.
Mm.
So
Okay.
it's a
Yeah.
bad situation. Same thing with the media and some of these large
Mm.
legacy media, as you call them,
Yeah.
organizations that are owned by these corporations. I'm sure they've been given the directive. I'm not defending it. I'm just saying where we are.
Oh, I understand
It.
what you're saying. I totally
Yeah,
get it. Yeah. Yeah.
they're
I
scared.
totally get
I
it.
noticed this morning. I went out. I had a few errands to run. I'm a caretaker for my mother. She watches television most of the day, watches news. So when I
Right.
came back about an hour ago, and she's watching CNN and MSNBC, and I'm asking, what did they say about Trump not winning the Nobel Peace Prize? Because I figured
Yeah.
that was going to be new. She said they haven't mentioned it. And I was like, there you go. You know why they haven't mentioned it? Because they don't want to piss him off. They don't want to piss him off. And
Yeah.
that's the reason. So that's where we are. And you're absolutely right that we have to start at least our best without losing our temper to try to educate our fellow citizens as best as possible. But it's going to be very difficult
It's very
because
difficult. It's
because
very
when you're
difficult.
on the television, you seem it gives you credibility,
Right. Right. Right.
and people tend to believe what they want to believe,
Right.
especially if it's coming out of their trusted resource. So we're in a bad spot. We're in a bad
Yeah.
spot.
Yeah. Yeah. We're definitely in a bad spot because I got another example from Uber that just shows how their complicity is just making this worse. Couple picked the couple up from the airport, take them to their kid's place, and it was either the husband or the wife said, so I heard it's much safer now here in DC now. And so I'm sitting there, first thing in my head, I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? You believe that bullshit? That's what I'm thinking in my head.
Right.
That's like in Herman's Head. If anybody ever remembers the show Herman's Head, had all those different people in the head, personalities on fighting and all that. So that was going on in my head. But the calm person in me said, ma'am, it's just as safe as it was before.
Mhm.
I just left it at that. I said, everything's fine. You see
Mhm.
any problems? Hey, look, having a nice drive. Look, driving by the Pentagon.
Mhm.
Everything's cool. You know, I
Eh,
said, hey, if it was bad, I wouldn't be picking you up in an Uber. So, I mean, you know what I mean? If it was as bad as they say it is, why would I risk doing my job and going in the city? Because based on what they're saying,
right.
it's going to be awful. But CNN, Stephen Miller,
Mhm.
you saw that. CNN,
No,
okay,
tell me.
live. It was a live broadcast, and I forgot the dude that was talking to him. Stephen Miller freezes on CNN when he said that the president has plenary authority. Soon as he said plenary authority, he just freezes up
Mhm.
because he knows he just fucked up.
Yeah.
First of all, seeing this guy shut his mouth was awesome.
Mhm.
But the fact that CNN didn't explain what he said, why he may have been quiet, and they just said they were having technical difficulties is another example of the complicity, because nobody on CNN even approached what the definition of plenary authority is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, everyone is CYA. Everyone's covering their butt.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's getting to a point now where it's eroding. It's they're complicit. To use your
yeah,
word, they definitely are helping this current administration
yeah,
misinform the public by not
yeah,
correcting what's going on.
yes,
I this week, because I write all the time, and I
right,
started a Substack. I got on
okay.
Substack. My Substack, by the way, is ninjainthewoodpile.substack.com. That's my account.
And people, I'm going to guarantee you this. I'm going to get him to do those monologues. I'm going to get him to do them, send them to me so I can put them out there.
All right.
So
Well,
you guys got to hold him accountable
well,
like
well,
you hold me accountable.
well.
So
I wrote one.
continue,
I
my
wrote
friend.
one on
Yeah.
on algorithmic governance, which is the problem we have now with these algorithms, these media algorithms. You see, most people are familiar with them through social media. However,
All right.
these same algorithms are being used in streaming with the commercials that you see. But
Gotcha.
because the uh, algorithm will feed you what you're interested in, and
Mm-hmm.
if all you're getting is what you're interested in, what you agree with, or at the time, you don't get any other viewpoint. Any
Right.
other they're just pumping what's going to keep you engaged.
Mm.
And so the assumption of the algorithm is that you're not going to engage with something that you don't like.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem with that is you get misinformation that's reinforced. So in the conservative algorithm on social media, if you're getting that stuff, you're thinking that what you're saying, the viewpoint you're seeing, or the misinformation you're receiving, like DC is out of control and burning down. If you're seeing this from several sources and that's all you're seeing, you think that's a fact because you're
Yeah.
not in DC.
Yeah.
And that's a problem because um, we should be able to overcome this when we didn't have algorithms running our media and when we didn't have uh, media sources that had to be profit centers. We had people that were just,
Mm-hmm.
you know, as my grandmother used to say, it was just telling the news, and
Mm-hmm.
that's what it was. But now, um, it's we're in a very challenging place, and when you get out there in the public, and that's another thing, because since the pandemic, I'll just
Mm-hmm.
speak for myself, and I'm sure this is probably very common out there. Since the pandemic, I've been much less social than I've ever been in my adult life. I really
Mm-hmm.
don't go out too much
Right.
as much as I should, and as a result, I'm not running into those people that you meet at your Uber. You see what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
I overhear
Yeah.
conversations and things like that, but I don't really interact with a lot of people who may be looking at getting information from another source that might not be
Mhm.
accurate. So
Yeah, you know what? That's a very good point. And you remember the Fairness Act, that was put aside, and that's one reason why we got such bias in media.
it happened during the Reagan administration.
Yeah, Reagan administration, and he did that for his man Rupert. But when you look at what you just said, which is which makes me realize that when you have the outlets that we have that show both sides, they show all the stuff that that Grinder Mike Johnson might be saying that's wrong and irrelevant and lying. We get that from a lot of the media that we're getting from those algorithms, and I will have to say that part of the journalism is good because we're getting all the information that was said from both sides, and then
Right.
we're able to move forward. But for those on that conservative side, they're not getting everything that we are saying. And I say that because if you look at those particular pages of those people, you will see how they take text, all the stuff out of context to probably get their point across. Like when those brothers went to, those white dudes went to the HBCU, which you're going to see more of, and you see them, getting that footage.
Mm.
Well, they're going to take that footage, create the story, and use it the way they want to. Like Chrissy Noam, they try to do all this stuff in Portland, and there's nothing there. But that being said, they're getting all of the bad stuff, and the stuff that we're saying is taken out of context.
Mm-hmm.
So when that woman was saying all that stuff to me, I have seen all of those conversations, everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm able to rebuttal her with, well, in that particular speech or talk about a particular interview, they also said this part as well. Did you hear that? And that's usually when they freeze up, get mad, and want to switch to
Yeah.
another topic.
I was while you were talking, I just was going back to I was looking at CNN.com and listen, when I say this, I have some problems with CNN as well, but they tend, I trust CNN's coverage much more than Fox News, was who I was just comparing it to, and
Mm.
Fox News is they're talking about Letitia James being a hypocrite. I mean, all these things, they
Yeah.
even their story, and this is what gets me also. I mean, I wish.
And by the way, people, Letitia James was indicted on some bullshit as well. So that's
Yeah. She was
So
she was indicted on charges. This is the other thing. She was indicted on charges that two other U.S. attorneys would not bring and got fired behind. They got fired because they weren't going to bring this bogus case.
That's right.
And that was and that was the argument, the conversation I was talking about previously about Mark Elias. That was the topic they were talking about, and he was saying that these people at the Justice Department who remain there now after this, they really, he says, they're complicit. They really have no excuse. But unfortunately, people have to live as well. That's where and it's tough. I mean, you have, it's tough. Now you have to look. You can look like Mark Elias. I agree with him. He's like, I'm not going to feel sorry for an attorney, for somebody who is a lawyer, who's reached who's competent enough to have worked in the Department of Justice, who might have a hard time finding a new job. He's like, that's ridiculous. They'll be able to find a job somewhere. So it's
look, man, they gotta work. Look, that's why I'm doing Uber, because believe it or not, with what I do, that I can do anything when it comes to media, music, filming, whatever. Anything comes to media, I can do it. People know that my work is out there. But I get a lot of people that contact me through Thumbtack, through LinkedIn, through all these sources out there where I'm trying to network and get business, that want me to do things that go against my morals. I get more people, right-wing people, wanting to push me to use AI or edit something in a particular way to get across information that's misleading. I say, thank you, but no thank you. Sorry, I can't help you with that. I do that. I probably get, for every 10 inquiries like that, I may get one from somebody who I'm actually fighting for their rights. And then when I get an offer from them, it nowhere near matches what I get from the people who are looking to push this misinformation. See, they see the value in what I do. Many on my side don't see the value.
Right.
And you may have had this happen to you, but over the past several months, I've had people come to me and tell me to basically chill out. And if I have stuff up that talks against the occupant, I should take it down.
Mm-hmm.
Now, see, that pisses me off because
why are they telling you that?
See, that's what I'm getting ready to get to. See, okay. Because I immediately begin thinking one thing. Did they send you to tell me this? And where are you getting that information from? Who is they? See, people like that are part of the problem. If you are truly on my side, tell me who was watching me specifically.
Is that what they're telling you? I mean,
no, they're not telling me who specifically is watching me.
Then why are they telling you to take it down? Just because it's too controversial? Or
see, that's another thing. Why are you reaching out to me and telling me this?
Yeah.
Why are you reaching out? You see I'm posting this stuff all the time. Why are you reaching out? Well, a lot of times they're saying recently because this guy is starting to go after his political opponents.
Right.
I'm like, okay, all right, that's fine and Danny, cool. Shit, I got one thing on my side when it comes to that. Discovery. Right. So just come on after me. See, yeah, it's a fight and it puts us in a position. But, you know, if you're truly on my side, tell me who it is. And like I said, keep that information to yourself because right now, Letitia James being indicted, and like you said, Eric Siebert, he was like, I'm not with that. Like Mark Elias said, he'll probably be able to get some work, definitely.
Sure.
But we're at a point now where your fucking law firm, stand up to this motherfucker. Please, stop it. And you're starting to see that with some of these people out there. You're starting to see that. And I will also say this. I'm glad Hakeem Jeffries told Homeboy to shut his mouth. I wish he would have told me, oh, you need to just shut the fuck up and sit your ass down. But it's getting to the point where, like Mark Elias, I love that guy because he's tired of people being wimps and he's tired of the bullshit.
Right.
The money is controlling a lot of this right now. And we just need people like us to keep speaking up, man.
Yeah, but it's everything. This is why I call Trump the devil, because he kind of what he understands.
Bobby Boucher, that man is the devil.
What he understands, I think, more than because this is his lifeblood. This is what turns him on. But unfortunately, this is kind of a fact of life in this society we live in. This capitalistic society that we live in is that people need money. And this thing runs on money. So even with these law firms, and I agree with you, I don't give them any quarter. I don't give them any allow them to use those excuses. But the reality is this: that if you're a law firm, that your main, and I worked part-time at one time for a law firm when I was in college, but that represented Coca-Cola and Waffle House, and it was in Atlanta, a lot of things. So anyway, for example, and I'm just using this as a hypothetical to make my point, if Coca-Cola was a Trump-loving organization, and this law firm I worked for, was asked by the Trump administration to do something that they didn't want to do, they're in danger of this client that's paying 30% of their business leaving. Yeah. And so they're worried about that. And Trump knows that, they leverage that. So it's a terrible,
that's called racketeering.
Correct.
That's what
terrible thing. Yeah. But see, that's why we have that's what our public servants are supposed to do. See, the chief executive, the president, is not supposed to be able to exert that type of pressure on the private sector. The Congress, the Senate specifically, but the House and the Senate are supposed to check that.
That's power. The board. They need to check that. They got to put him in place.
But without that check, he's running amok.
Yeah, he is.
So that's why I say we're here. We are in the new. See when people we are in the new norm. The new norm, and I'm stealing this again from Mark Elias. The new norm now. Stop talking about I can't believe this happened. The new norm is the president tells the Justice Department to indict this person, they get indicted.
Yeah,
that's where we're at. That's where we're at. So we
Yeah.
need to act accordingly. We
Yeah.
need to
Yeah.
not just sit back and say, I wonder what he's going to do. Ooh, this is what's
Mm,
happening.
yeah.
So what are we
Yeah.
going to do about it? That's the
Yeah,
deal.
man. Yeah, we're definitely under that in that time. And as you look at people still tripping off the fact that Bad Bunny is doing the Super Bowl halftime show, it's showing you the level of racism and hate that we have in this country from coming from MAGA.
Look.
First of all, the dude is Puerto Rican. That's like being a Michigan, somebody from Michigan or North Carolinian. Puerto Rico is an American territory. He is an American.
Yeah.
I let's just get this. And so now you got Turning Point is going to do a halftime show to counter Bad Bunny. They call it the All American Show.
Right.
Look, maybe somebody should tell them the history of In Living Color, and why the Super Bowl halftime show is what it is now.
Right.
See, those are black folks. That urban entertainment is what people wanted at that time. So instead of watching that boring ass All American halftime show that year, because those shows used to be lame, really lame.
Yeah.
Keenan Ivory Wayans and his family came in there and knocked the box out.
Yeah.
The ratings were so huge. Everybody left the Super Bowl to watch that. Was so huge that the next year, this dude who was the number one pop star of all time did a halftime show. Michael Jackson. So with that being said, and Turning Point always trying to do something, I guarantee you that they will reach out to Kanye, Snoop, and Nelly for their All-American show. Because
don't forget Lil Wayne.
And Lil Wayne as well. Because I mean, the racism that we're dealing with, brother, is on another level, man.
I wasn't surprised. I knew as soon as I heard it, I figured it was coming, and it did. What I don't understand, what I'm tired of, see, I guess maybe, I don't know, I got to find a different term, because nobody wants to own racism. I'm not a racist.
Yeah.
They don't want to own that. So let's come with you. Maybe I need to start asking some of these people. I very rarely confront them. Like see them, interact with them directly, but maybe I will. What do you want me to call you then instead of a racist? Because you got no reason to not like Bad Bunny unless you just don't like his music. But you don't boycott something because you don't like the music. Like there have been several artists in the Super Bowl halftime show that aren't necessarily, on my playlist, but I acknowledge their stardom, and it's just a show. Yeah. I was like, for anyone to be against this person because they are Latino and they sing in their native language or rap or whatever they do in their native language, that's crazy. That's freaking crazy.
Yeah.
If you don't want to be called a racist, in fact, if you're watching this and you feel that way about Bad Bunny, please contact us. Tell me what you want me to call you. That describes somebody who has no tolerance for somebody of another ethnicity and another nationality. Tell me what that is, and I'll call you that, because that's what you are.
Yeah, you're racist. And what really just blows my mind about racists is that their hate is based on a lie. When you ask them, well, what is it? Well, he's not American. Well, Puerto Rico is American. Okay. The lack of humility keeps them from realizing that, you know what? I've been fed hate, and everything that I'm upset about doesn't even exist at all. And they're fed it from people like, Grinder Mike Johnson, who is no Christian. I mean, this guy was on C-SPAN, and this mom, a military mom, called in and said, why are you against a bill to pay our soldiers? Because we don't get paid. My kids are not going to be able to get their medication. This dude just sitting there shaking his head. He's an asshole. We are living in a world of idiocracy that is governed by the Hunger Games.
Yeah.
That's what we're in right now.
That's true. But I just want them to like somebody to like at least admit that you don't want Bad Bunny because he's not American and he's not a white person.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Now granted, you'd be happy if it was probably Kanye or something like that. You'd probably be happy with that.
Yeah,
But
because he wears a
what
red
I would
hat.
be interested to see here is if, well, again, he's Puerto Rican, so he's American. So that's let me think that way. But they, I would like to see if they had like picked like someone like Ed Sheeran, who's like Irish or whatever, the Dexys Midnight Runners, or somebody who is like from another country, but they have songs that they like to hear. Probably would have heard nothing, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
But
Unless they hear about Ed Sheeran's political views against the occupant,
yeah,
that's when you probably would have heard something.
yeah.
Well, anyway, next time, man, I want to get into some of the things that Roland Martin has been talking about as it pertains to black media and the disparities in media dollars. Because once again, that comes back to the being complicit in all this crap. Because he gave one example of how at BET during the 80s and 90s, how a $1,500 ad on BET was $8,000 on MTV. And then he also goes into the fact that a ton of inquiries that he gets, they're all looking to cut, his costs.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of want us to kind of talk about that next week, and how that deals with the leverage of power, because we kind of touched on a little bit with what these lawyers from the DOJ is going through. So I kind of want to maybe continue the conversation next time and kind of bring that into play. So,
all right, well, send me. I'll look them
I'll
up.
send you some information on. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll send you some information on that. And now, is there anything else you might want to add to the chat that I overlooked? And maybe you might want to add how Jackson Dart is now the man in New York.
Well, I also when I was telling you about Fox News, the Fox News website,
yeah,
they did have a on their main page. They had something about the rookie who helped win the game, Jackson Dart. They were all happy about that. Because he's like because the Eagles, they're a rather dark team. Okay. And so,
but did you hear what Herb Street said last night? They might have it in that ad. He has those movie star looks, and I'm like, oh shit, they're going there already with this shit, man.
Yeah.
Look,
but they really don't look, because they really don't like. Now, I don't like the Eagles because my team is in the NFC East. That's why I don't like the Eagles. But they don't like the Eagles. Maybe because they don't like Philadelphia Eagles. But that team, like I said, I think all their no, Goddard's white. I'm trying to think. Their team is brothers, man. These are strong, winning brothers, and they do not like that team. This isn't the Patriots with Edelman catching touchdowns and all that stuff. Yeah. This is a whole different scene, and they are like, they are like who was it? Chris Brown, not Chris Brown, Chris Rock joke or whatever, that Colin Powell was like in the closet as a black person, but James Brown was openly black. Well, the Philadelphia Eagles are openly black.
Yeah.
They do not like that team. That's the only reason why I do cheer for them a little bit, but I actually despise them. Not as much as your team. I despise the Cowboys more, but the Eagles are number 2 in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, look, last night I was watching that, man. Listen to Kurt Herbstreit, and you're right. The Eagles, they people like seeing them get hurt. But I tell you one thing, Russell Wilson hopes that Jackson Dart doesn't get hurt anymore this year, because he definitely doesn't want to be QB2. I know he'd rather be QB3, because when Dart got hurt last night and Wilson had to come in for a moment to play, dude got booed hard, man.
Oh, yeah.
I would have been after the game. I've been like, yo, trade me.
Yeah.
All right. So, so, but anyway, man, As we close out, I need to say something to all my UNC folks. To all of you who were on those chat boards and praising the hiring of Bill Belichick and chose to ignore the facts that the dude was washed in the NFL because he couldn't relate to the younger incoming players. Why would you be so foolish to think he could connect with players younger than him, younger than those guys? He was a bad hire, and the lack of not being able to build relationships off the field with these young men shows that he was not the best person for the job. So, before the next game, fire his ass, bring back Mac Brown, bring him back. At least we can lose with the man who actually gives a damn about Chapel Hill. Anyway, that's our chat for today. That's my man Howard. I'm Couch, and we're out.
Take care.
Peace.